Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Joni Young. Today I'm going to be showing you step by step how to paint this beautiful magical black and white ornament. You will need the following supplies, which I'll be posting in the description below again: smooth foam balls, scissors, fine glitter, white paint, Mod Podge or white glue, black paint, and 1-inch organza ribbon, a hook for hanging, now we're going to take the end of our paintbrush and gently poke a hole and twist, make that little hole right on the top where we're going to place our finger and know how to paint right side up. Pour some black and white paint out. So put your finger on the top of that hole so you always know which side is right side up. You don't want to paint upside down Christmas trees. So we're going to get the paintbrush wet, dab it off on the towel, take some black paint, and start painting right in the center for our horizon. Pull it all the way around, back and forth with your flat brush. Take some white now. We're going to softly blend that in and then start painting back and forth all the way around, gradually getting lighter and lighter towards the bottom and the top. You want to leave it the darkest right in the middle. Now you can choose to leave it straight black, or you can make just a really dark gray if you like. It's totally up to you. Just remember, the darker it is, the better your highlights and shadows will be. Okay, now I'm going to switch over to a Filbert brush because I want to place that in the hole nice and tight, careful not to poke through the bottom. And now I've got something to hold on to so I don't get my fingers into that paint and possibly wreck the ornament. So now I can twist it around with my fingers, easily painting the rest of the ball. So I'm going to paint right down to the very bottom of the ball, and I'm going to eventually kind of pull it and swirl it around, making it look like it's getting smaller and smaller and swirly. And you can simply do this by twisting with your fingers on that paintbrush handle, and keeping your brush on the ball the whole time and just letting the ball that's twisting pull that paintbrush and the paint out. And there you go. Now I'm going to start applying the bushes and trees and mountains in the distance. So mountains are super easy, just go up and then down, making little peaks. And if that's too intimidating and a little bit too challenging for you guys, then just paint triangles. Tell yourself these are just little triangles, one side darker, one side lighter. And then with the same brush, we're using our little flat brush now. We're going to press, pull, and flick gently and softly for an instant forest. Right on that line that's in the middle. Now if you want it to be a lake on the bottom under there, you can just pull lightly and flick for a reflection. Okay, and I'm going to turn my brush sideways to begin some tree trunks for our trees that are in the foreground. You can put these anywhere you like. Now keep in mind, if you plan on personalizing your ornaments, I will be personalizing this one. Make sure you don't have too many trees, otherwise you're going to be running out of room to apply the lettering for the name that you're going to be adding on there. Now back over to a Filbert, black paint, we're going to tap in some little tree branches on each of these trees. Smaller on the top, tapping lightly using the very tip of your brush, And a filbert is a great little brush to use for creating foliage on your trees and for bushes. Oh, I use the filbert brush for all sorts of things like clouds, even little waterfalls. I'm going to go right down to the base of the tree, and then I'm going to flick off for a shadow on the base. So we'll go all around the tree, adding little shadows and all around the ornament, completing all these trees. Now, if you're new to my channel, I've got a whole playlist of wintertime and Christmas videos. I've got one other Christmas ornament video. It's purple. You can go check it out if you like. I'll leave the link in the description below. I'm going to be adding, but depends on when you guys see this, I'm going to be adding a few more Christmas ornaments. I will be doing a magenta or quinacridone violet one coming up later this week. And each one will be different and unique. So they're not all going to be the same. You don't want to miss anything. I'm just going to pull and flick up some more trees back here and foliage. These ones are a little bit more in the distance, so I still have some room in the foreground for personalizing if I need to. And I did 2 arches for a bridge. I'm going to be adding the highlights and the snow. So on the other side, the opposite side of that dark black, we'll have the highlight. And just lightly pull and drag. Little mountain there, it's a little bit further back, and one right about there. And let's put a little moon in here, or a sun. And I'm going to twist, pull and drag my brush to create a swirl on the very top in the sky. I love to make my Christmas ornaments look a little bit whimsical, and this is a really easy, simple way of creating that effect. So you want to try doing this all in one stroke, or as long as you can pull your brush around without letting off. It'll make it look a lot smoother and less choppy if you do that. So I've got quite a bit of snow and white paint on the tip of my brush. And I'm just going to dab. You want to be very generous with the amount of paint you're using. It will, because the white always dries a little bit darker, you want to put a thick amount on there to save you from having to go back and do 2 or 3 coats. So tap lightly again using that Filbert brush. And I am applying, I didn't take a few minutes to dry the black off because I'm working in a really warm environment today in my studio, and as I'm turning the ball around, I'm painting more and more trees, letting the others have time to dry, and by the time I get my white paint on my brush, things are starting to dry to a point that I can add this layer of white over top. And even if you get a spot that's still a little bit wet, you're just going to make a nice mid-tone of gray, like a few shades of gray, which is nice to have in between the white and the black. So don't worry at all about painting wet on wet. Like I said, the worst scenario is you're just going to have to add a few more layers. But it is really nice to have some light gray tones in there instead of just having completely black and white. And when it's all finished, it just looks like a really pretty silver, glittery hanging ornament. I've been painting these for years and years. I've painted hundreds of these and sold them at craft fairs and Oh, I just enjoyed doing it. I've taken a break from it now though. Um, I thought I would just move on to other things since I've done this for so long, but I really wanted to share this on my channel for you guys. I started my channel about a year ago now. So I've got a lot of paintings and landscapes, but I didn't have any ornaments, and I really wanted to share this so that you guys could make your own Christmas ornaments for your friends and family, your loved ones. They make a wonderful gift for Christmas time. And you can, like I said, personalize them. I'm not going to be demonstrating personalizing because this one is a surprise that somebody ordered for one of their loved ones, so I don't want to give that away. I know they watch my channel, so but I did personalize for my last video of a Christmas ornament. I painted it for my grandson, my little baby grandson Zach, so you guys can have a look if you want to know how to personalize. And I'm taking a liner brush here, and I'm going to carefully place my pinky on the ball to help stabilize my hand and keep it straight, and I can pull across 2 skinny arches for either side of the bridge. So the railing, and then we've got these little posts or fence that go down, and then I'll add in a little fence. I always like the way a little fence looks in a country winter scene. Just adds a little bit of more of a mood and character, and it makes you wonder where that fence goes. Maybe there's a little village somewhere, or cottage or cabin. And we will be adding a little cabin here pretty soon. So we'll have lots going on in this for you guys to learn how to paint. The fence, which I'm going to highlight and shadow both sides. And your fence posts get smaller and smaller and smaller as they get further away to help create that perspective and distance. And of course they're going to be longer as they come to the foreground closer to us. So you want to have a nice fine liner brush for this, and you don't want any water on your brush. You want that paint on the very tip, and you want to barely touch, pull, and drag lightly. I'm going to switch over to a mini fan brush now to work on this little, just want to create a little waterfall. So I'm going to get a nice base, shadow base here in order for our highlights to show up. So I'm going to pull lightly to the center and then flick down. Pull and then flick. I learned how to paint waterfalls from Bob Ross way back when I was a little kid. I used to love watching his show, and he just made it seem so easy. So I still paint them the same way, just with acrylic paint and not oil. So there you go, you guys. It's so simple to paint a waterfall. You just have to have that shadow base underneath. I'm just going to dust lightly on the base of that and have it kind of start to blend into those swirls. Back to a small flat brush now, and we're going to be beginning our cabin. So I'm going to take white paint on the end of my brush, no water, on a diagonal little slant, the left and the right. We're going to work on this roof that's covered in snow, and then add a little puff of smoke coming out of that chimney at the top. So just the corner of your brush, and then you can soften with your finger. Now with a clean brush, I'm just going to pull down some black, and then we'll add a reflection. Maybe this is the little lake down here. Just flick and pull. Wouldn't it be wonderful to have a cabin in the woods in the winter and have like a lake out front where you could ice skate? I always think of little things like that when I'm creating my winter scenes or any painting really. I imagine myself living there and what I would like, and I just really like to create my own little worlds. I wonder if you guys are the same way. Let me know in the comments below. So I'm gonna keep adding white where I want to have it look like there's more snow on this roof, maybe make it look a little bit more lumpy and not so neat and tidy. And then dab with the corner of my brush. You can use a liner for this, for any little windows you want to have. Maybe there's a light on the door, but it is far away. And I'm going to continue with that little highlight and reflection. Very subtle though. Maybe tap if there's any little bushes around that are covered in frost or snow. So this cabin is really far away. Look how small it is compared to the trees, so you don't need to have a lot of detail. Don't get carried away with doing too much to it. Okay, over to our little liner brush. Let me just even this out a little bit so it looks like the roof's not caving in. And maybe just tidy up this a little bit. You just need a little bit more shadow right up above this window here in the front. And right underneath that roof line and in between some of those windows. And a little shadow just on that chimney. Makes a huge difference. Okay, I want to add a little shadow on either side of these little posts. For our little railing on our little bridge that takes us over this waterfall, and then to our cabin. Okay, add some more snow with my little mini Filbert brush. So I recommend you guys to get a Filbert brush. They're wonderful to use. I can't say it enough in my videos. I love a Filbert. I love a fan brush. They're excellent. They'll take you really far in your paintings. So I'm getting a lot of questions from you guys. You've been sending me a lot of emails lately, actually. I wasn't expecting that. I thought you guys would just ask me in the comments below, but that's fine. I accept emails as well. You're wondering where I get my brushes from and if I spend a lot of money on them. Well, I honestly have a combination of everything. To have a good paintbrush, you don't necessarily need to spend a lot of money on one. Sometimes you can get a really good cheap brush, and sometimes you need to spend a bit more money. Now, what I found are fan brushes can be the most challenging ones for me to find, because you don't want ones that are too flimsy and just kind of spread apart and separate into chunks. So you want to get one that's kind of a little bit firm, but not so firm that you're not going to get that nice texture out of them when you use them. So it's kind of just trial and error. I use Liquid-X, Artist Loft, Grumbacher, Winsor & Newton. I use a combination. Okay, so back to this ball, we let it dry, and we're taking some Mod Podge now, and you can use a high gloss or you can use a satin finish, any finish that you like. Now, if you don't have Mod Podge, you can use white glue as long as it dries clear, okay? Now, if you have white glue, it will dry shiny, but this Mod Podge I'm using is more of a satin finish, so it's not going to have a high sheen to it. So we're going to apply that, and then we're going to sprinkle on all over as little or as much as you like of the fine diamond glitter. Now, I like this glitter the best because you get a shade of every color, and it's pastel, it's subtle, it's not tacky, it's just super pretty. And look at that, it's just gorgeous. So when the lights hit this on the Christmas tree or wherever it's hanging, it's gonna just come alive and look so sparkly and magical. So I'm gonna turn it upside down with that paintbrush still stuck in there, let it dry, take a few moments. I've sped it up in order to speed up this video. Whoops, the glitter is all over the place. Now I'm gonna cut my ribbon about 5 inches or so, depending on how big of a bow that you want to make for your ornament. And you can also use larger ribbon if you like. I just find this is a nice size. It doesn't take over the ornament too much, covering up that scene. Make a bow, and then you loop that hook right through the material in the center. Now this is all dried. I'm going to take, you could use a hot glue gun or clear silicone, but I've got my Mod Podge here and it works quite well, so I'm just going to push that hook through with a bow and then come around the edges and kind of just fill in that little gap. So make sure that you get some glue around the entire hook so it stays in place. And then you're going to just set your ribbon where you want to, push it in that glue gently, leave it to dry somewhere safe, and once it's done, it'll look like this. It's so pretty. Whoever you give this to and make it for will love it for years to come. Happy painting, you guys. I want to thank you again for joining me today. I'm happy I got to share this with you. I wish you all the best for the holidays. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.